Hello there, you guys. Welcome to another of my live videos. And it has been made official today that Arsenal Football Club have sacked Unrai Emery after just 18 months in charge. Arsenal have come out with a couple of reasons why they have sacked Unrai Emery. Due to the results and performances, not to the level as currently required. So basically, Unrai was not exceeding expectations at Arsenal. It has confirmed his replacement is Freddie Ljungberg. He has been appointed in as a temporary boss, as you know, Freddie Ljungberg. So. Obviously, from an Arsenal perspective, that can elevate Arsenal forward. But obviously, Arsenal have enjoyed really a bad start to the season. Obviously, they're enjoying their worst competitive run. Without a win since February 1992. But Arsenal are actually winless in their last 7 games, and Arsenal did lose by 2 goals to 1 against Frankfurt yesterday. So that's obviously now another manager, that's sat. But obviously it was just a matter of time anyway, before Unrai was sacked. But I think, a lot of our fans now, obviously, as you all know by now, I'm a Man United fan. Obviously, they're fuming, with the sacking of Unrai. They're thinking, obviously, why is Solskjaer, not yet being sacked as Man United manager. But I do believe, Solskjaer, will be the next manager, to be sacked and that. As you all know, though, with Arsenal, they did have a list of managers. Well, they have got a list of managers on their agenda. Like I said, recent reports emerged out, saying that Nuno Santo, was their primary candidate to replace Unai Emery. And, maybe, he would be the right candidate for Arsenal Football Club and that. And I think the beneficial thing about Arsenal recommending Nuno Santo in is that take into account Nuno Santo's agent George Mendes, has a strong relationship with Raul Sanelli, who of course is Arsenal's head of football and that. So obviously, that could be beneficial. Nuno Santo has been a coach of Wolves now for quite a few years. Obviously, he's emulated himself up and that as Nuno Santo, but you've got to, praise him, what he's done at Wolves. He progressed them to the Championship title a couple of years ago. He also got them to 7th position last season. So obviously that meant, Wolves got automatic qualification for the Europa League. Obviously, before he was at Wolves, he was at Porto, Valencia and Rio have. But I'm very sceptical that Arsenal will get a Nuno Santo in. Obviously, another name's been put into the equation now, and that is Brendan Rodgers. To be quite honest with you, my overarching view on that is I would take actually Brendan Rodgers at Manchester United to replace Mulligan and Solskjaer. But I do believe now that Arsenal are in for him. But I've got to say, I think Brendan Rodgers is a very, very good manager. I don't think he's won much in terms of silverware. I don't think he's won anything as far as I'm aware of. But, he's done really, really good with Leicester. I'm very sceptical about him leaving Leicester. I think this is actually now his first season with Leicester. But you've got to say he has done a really, really good job. I think his philosophy is right for Leicester City Football Club. Obviously, the vast majority of them players are his and that, Brendan Rodgers and that. But I think, to be honest with you, he's replicating at Leicester, what he did at Celtic, because, Brendan Rodgers did enjoy quite a few good years with Celtic. Also, before he was at Celtic, when he was at Liverpool, I thought he had one good season with Liverpool. And I thought he also did very, very well with Swansea, when he was younger. So, yeah, I would probably take him at Manchester United. Mikel Arteta, of course, has also been linked with the Arsenal job. Don't forget, he's actually now a former Arsenal player. At this present time, he's one of the coaching assistants at Man City. Obviously, as well, there has been a lot of talks about Mauricio Pochettino. I think it's very, very likely. I think it's very, very likely, if we do sack Solskjaer, that, he will be our next permanent manager, will Mauricio Pochettino and that. Pochettino has been linked with quite a few clubs. There's been talks about him going to Arsenal. There's also been talks about him possibly, going to Bayern Munich. I think also, Barcelona have been in there for him. But I'm very, very sceptical, that Pochettino will go to Arsenal and that. But we've been long admirers of Mauricio Pochettino anyway, because obviously before we did recommend Solskjaer in. We went in for Mauricio Pochettino. Obviously, he was my primary candidate, but obviously at the time we went in for him after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. Obviously he was reluctant to leave Tottenham, and like I did put into the equation, Daniel Levy is a hard negotiator. And obviously at that time, we had to pay something in compensation. That, we had to pay around 32 million in compensation. But now as it stands with him being managerless, we don't have to pay anything, to recommend him in. But I did give it a couple of reasons why our preference was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It's because obviously, Solskjaer knows the traditions of the club. Solskjaer does know the club inside out and that. And, he was a cheap solution. We didn't really have to pay that much, to recommend him in from Mold. But I'm hopeful that Pochettino is our next manager, because I do believe he would be the right candidate for Man United. I won't fully disregard him going to Arsenal, because he's still a possibility chance, when he could go to Arsenal. But Pochettino, like I did say, he enjoyed 5 great years. He enjoyed 5 great years with Tottenham. My only element of concern I've got about Mauricio Pochettino is that, he hasn't won out in terms of silverware. But I've been proud that he's a very, very good manager, well proven in the Premier League, good at developing young players. His philosophy, is also really, really good, and I think his philosophy, would be right for Man United. But I think if he came to Man United, he'd be able to replicate, what he did do with Tottenham. And obviously, initially did sign a 5-year contract at Tottenham in the summer of 2018 with around £8.5 million a year. Before he was at Tottenham, he enjoyed a short tenure with Southampton, where I thought he did well. And before that, he was at Espanyol. So Mauricio Pochettino so far has managed 3 clubs in his managerial career, and he's been managing for just over 10 years. But I think he will definitely get another job. But I'm hopefully he's Man United's next manager, definitely, and I hope he is, because we need to see a variety of changes at my football club. Massimiliano Allegri, don't forget, Arsenal have recently been holding talks with him over the vacant managerial role. It was a couple of days ago. Reports emerged out saying that allegedly Massimiliano Allegri had rejected the Arsenal job. Don't forget, at one point he was our primary candidate, to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United and that. So it actually did say, that it's likely, Arsenal will appoint Massimiliano Allegri in. He's been managerless since the end of last season, when he did obviously resign as Juventus manager. Obviously, he managed Juventus for around 5 years, and that's so he had a 5-year tenure. Obviously, won the vast majority of his silverware with Juventus, and progressed them to Champions League finals. But analysing, he spent the entirety of his career in Italy, his managerial career, and when he played, he also spent the entirety of his playing career in Italy. So over the years, he's emulated himself up, because he actually started managing smaller various Italian clubs, but he's been managing since like 2003. So he's been managing now for just over 16 years. But yeah, Arsenal have got quite a few managers on their agenda now who could replace Unrai. But for the time being, they have got Freddie Ljungberg in. He's obviously, been appointed in on a temporary basis and that. But like I did say, Arsenal have been a toxic football club, for the last for a number of years now, at least last 6-7 years, you could say they've been a toxic football club and that. And all the blame obviously didn't only stem from Emery. I know that obviously Unrai was tactically naive, and some of his substitutions and that were questionable. His team selections and that were wrong. And I thought Emery, during his 18-month period as Arsenal manager, I thought he was totally comparison, to as he was at PSG and Sevilla. Because actually, he did quite well at PSG. He won the French League title with PSG. Before that, he won 3 Europa Leagues with Sevilla, but he didn't replicate any of that at Arsenal. But he wasn't a good manager in that, Unrai Emery. And I also do believe he was totally a comparison to Arsene Wenger. Because obviously, I thought Arsenal did actually look better under Arsene Wenger in that, like I said, Wenger, served 22 years with Arsenal, He served 22 years with Arsenal. You can analyse it. You can say he probably had, 12 or 13 good years out of the 22 years he was there. But you've got to put that into account. But, Arsenal need a variety of changes at their club. I still believe they need to get rid of more players, probably. They're defensively very, very poor. So they do need to address their defensive deficiencies. At times they can show good attacking intent. They can score goals and that. And, to be fair, so I've got some good players in their team. But like I said, where they're just not playing as a unit. I think also their recruitment has been very poor for several years, despite the fact that Arsenal did get quite a few players in during the summer and that. They got the likes of Kieran Tierney for 25 million. They got the likes of William Saliba. I think he's been loaned back to St Etienne though. They also got Nicolas Pepe of 70 million. He hasn't performed to the standards as people expected from him. They also got David Luiz for £8 million. Obviously wasn't their first choice defender, but obviously, he was a cheaper solution. And I think, Arsenal's board, they made the right decision, obviously, getting rid of Unrai. And obviously, before it was officially announced of the sacking of Unrai, obviously, there was initially, discussing his departure anywhere. But, I think all the Arsenal fans, or the vast majority of them at least, will be relieved that Unrai has been sacked. But Unrai did take over at Arsenal in May 2018, obviously, when Arsene Wenger did currently, end up, leaving at that current point. But yeah, that's another manager, now sacked. I just wanted to confirm with you. I just wanted to confirm with you guys and that. So I think, now we need to get rid of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And like I said earlier on in the video, I think it's very, very imminent, he's going to be the next manager, to be sacked. Obviously, I think the next 3 games are going to decide whether Solskjaer's staying or whether Solskjaer is going in that. I think if his managerial tenure, is to be saved at Man United, I think we've got to win at least 2 of our next 3 games, or arguably we've got to win all of them. We've got Villa this Sunday, taking into account the preview will be coming up for that either tonight or it will be tomorrow morning. That I haven't watched his press conference as yet. Then we've obviously got Tottenham next week. We've also got City coming up and that. So, we have got games coming up thick and fast. Obviously, we do decide to sack Solskjaer. Obviously, it's going to cost the club a substantial amount of money, to obviously get rid of him. We're going to have to pay, something in compensation. I don't think we'll have to pay as much as we did do to get rid of Jose Mourinho, but obviously we're still going to have to pay something because obviously Solskjaer's on a 3-year contract. He'd been given this 3-year contract when he had been given the job permanently back in March earlier on this year. And like I did put into the equation, we've made several mistakes in the last 6 or 7 years. One of those mistakes obviously was giving Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job, and like I mentioned, and that And Solskjaer's on, £7.5 million pounds a year. So I also, want to take that into account and that. But don't get me wrong. There's some, aspects of me that do credit him. I've also, got some element of concerns about him. My element of concerns about him is that he just hasn't got that managerial experience. Not really to the highest level. As a manager now, and as a manager now, and to as he was as a player, he's totally comparison because I thought he had that. Yeah, he was a great player. He was a good long player for Man United for 11 years. He had that proven pedigree as a player, but he's totally comparison, like I've just said, as manager. Doesn't mean because he hasn't got, really that managerial experience to the highest level that he isn't going to become a success at the club. But, I'm just very, very sceptical about it. And I wish, I had a different perception on it all. And I want his managerial tenure, to succeed at the club. And, I know he's only been here now nearly a year. That's not really long, He's been, obviously, permanent manager now for nearly 9 months. And, obviously, analysing the vast majority of that 9 months, he's really endured a very difficult time in comparison to the time, when he was the interim manager in that 3-month period and that. But, we've endured our worst start to a Premier League season for over 30 years and that, But obviously, due to the vast majority of our bad results and bad performances this season, Solskjaer is definitely accountable for some of that. But you've got to say, not all the blame does stem from him. I think the board, our reliability, I think we need to get rid of our current board and recommend a new one. And if I'm going to be quite honest with you, I think we also need to get rid of Ed Woodward, despite the fact that he recently, assured Galactico signings at Man United and that. And also, we need to definitely get rid of more players because, these are still problematic players at the football club. So I think we need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players. And, a lot of players have left since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. As you all know, I give you my match reaction. On, the FC Astana, Man United game. Obviously, FC Astana, beat us by 2 goals to 1 yesterday in the Europa League. Again, another poor performance from Man United. I thought, we started the game very, very well in the first, 10 to 15 minutes. We, had some good chances. We passed the ball well. We showed a lot of tenacity, we was very tenacious in that. And we was winning the game, Jesse Lingard had scored the goal. He put us 1-0 up, Luke Shaw got the assist. I think Jesse Lingard's goal did get a slight deflection. Lingard, by the way, had been given the captaincy for the game against Astana. Solskjaer, I think, had revealed the reason why he had been given the captaincy. But, as the game went on, like I said, Astana, started growing into the game and that, there was actually a revelation, in that second half because I thought, they played very, very well and analysed it well as far as I'm aware. I don't think they're a very, very good team. That was Astana's first win in the group stage. Take that into account. Obviously, Astana equalised through obviously, Dimitar Shomko early in the second half. That was deflected as well. And their second goal came from an own goal. So you can say obviously that their second goal was fortuitous. Obviously, it came off Deshaun Bernard. But it was obviously a very, very it was very, very disappointing result and that, and Solskjaer, give his overarching view on the game, and he said it was a disappointing result, but he actually, taken some positives out of the game, and he did actually, say that, all the young players did well. He said none of them, stepped a foot out of line. Like I said, Solskjaer, took obviously a young squad to Kazakhstan. Obviously, the vast majority of them were teenagers, so I think he recommended around 14 teenagers to the trip for Kazakhstan. Obviously, he was happy with the performances of Deshaun Bernard. He also praised Dylan Levitt, for his performance. He was also impressed with Ethan Laird. They all got given their debuts. In total, I think Solskjaer had handed 7 debuts out in that particular game. Don't forget Lee Grant made his full debut. He's our third choice goalkeeper. But yeah, he made a variety of changes in the game. But obviously, Solskjaer knew it was a meaningless game anyway. Regardless of what had happened anywhere, it didn't. Even if we would have won, it wouldn't have mattered. Because either way, we're into the Europa League knockout stages anywhere, so it doesn't really matter now. But you've got to say the Europa League is a priority because I think it's our only chances. It's our only the Europa League's a priority because it's our only chance of getting Champions League football for next season. Because I'm very sceptical about us getting the top four. Definitely reflecting on the league. Because we are sitting ninth in the league at the moment. We are 9 points behind top four. So I'm very, very sceptical that we are going to get that top four. But I did confirm at the start of this season that our expectations this season anyway will be able to finish in that top four. And I did say I think our aspirations will be that top four anyway in the next couple of seasons, definitely. Because we're not good enough to win the league at the moment. We're not good enough to win the league at the moment. I don't think we're going to win the league for a number of years. I think for us to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and for us to be future title contenders, I think we need to see a variety of changes at the club. I think we need to bring the right calibre players into Man United, so we've got to be competitive in the next couple of windows. So my overarching view on it is just basically now we're dependent on all of that, and we've got to address the rest of the deficiencies in the squad next year. But I did confirm at the start of this season that I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season. Obviously, that's had to be at the moment. But I still didn't expect us to win the league this season, despite, the free signings that were recommended into the club during the summer. Obviously, Solskjaer spent nearly £150 million in the summer on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire, and they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. And I don't think any of the blame stems from them, why we've been, so, inconsistent this season, because I think they've all done really, really well. But Solskjaer I don't think is going to be here by January. In that, if he is to be here by January, then I think he does want to continue the policy of recommending young players in, like he did do in the summer, and he's already making plans for January in that, and obviously, either way, whether Solskjaer's still here or not, obviously we're going to be giving money to spend next year. Allegedly, it said we're only going to be giving around, £100 million to spend in January, around £100 million to spend next summer. There is question marks regarding that, though. Is that enough, to get the number of players that we want in? Is it enough for us, to address all the deficiencies in the squad? It's basically just dependent on how we are with our recruitment. Are we going to be sensible with it? Are we going to overpay for players? So, take that into account. But either way, Solskjaer has got a lot of players on his agenda, definitely. But yeah. But the good news is that Solskjaer shows a lot of faith in the youth, which is obviously very, very good, because he did actually confirm at the start of this season that obviously he said all the young players will get their opportunities, and to be fair, he has done that. He's given all the young players a chance. And now, like I said, I've got some element of concerns about some of the young players and that, so I think we need to orchestrate on getting rid of some of them next year. But I can definitely show that the likes of Mason Greenwood, Tuan Zebe, Brandon Williams, perhaps maybe even James Garner will all become successes at the football club, to be quite honest with you. Solskjaer's viewed Brandon Williams as his first choice left back. To be fair, I think Brandon Williams is a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw's been our first choice left back for quite some time. And I think he's also, he's definitely a better solution than Ashley Young. But anyway, we have got a variety of fullbacks in our team. Obviously, as you all know now anyway, Tuan Zebe and Luke Shaw are both back from injury, because they did play in the game against FC Astana. That was Tuan Zebe's first game since the Newcastle game. That was Luke Shaw's first game since, the Crystal Palace game. Tuan Zebe was out with a hip injury. Luke Shaw, of course, was out with a hamstring injury. So it's good, obviously, that they're back. But I think in the games Tuanzebe's played in this season, he's been very, very impressive. My overarching view on Mason Greenwood is that I do believe eventually he will overcome Marcus Rashford. Will Mason Greenwood? I'm going to put that into the equation. Not as yet. But I think as time goes on, as he develops more, he will overcome him, and I think he'll end up, being a better goal scorer than Rashford. He's only the age of 18. He scored his first Premier League goal in the 3-3 draw against Sheffield United. He scored 4 senior goals this season. And Mason Greenwood, made his full debut for the football club in the 2-0 defeat to Cardiff at the end of last season. But he has done really, really well as Greenwood. James Garner, I think, in the games he's played in, he's also, been very, very impressive in that. Diego Dalot, I think he's still currently out with injury. He's obviously another one of the young upcoming players, but I think he's been back. He's back in training now. Should I say? Diego Dalot's only been at the club since the summer of 2018, so I do believe we do need to give him more time. But yeah, he's been out with injury. Bailly and Fossil Mensah obviously back in training and that. Obviously Solskjaer did initially confirm this prior to the Sheffield United game. But he said they were training away from the rest of the squad. Bailly, of course, has been out with a knee injury. He sustained his injury throughout pre-season. Fossil Mensah has been out with a knee injury. Don't forget. He was on loan with Fulham last season where the injury occurred, and he's had it since. But obviously now he's back in training. Don't forget Marcus Rojo is injured. I think he sustained like a muscle injury during the international break, and Matic obviously is back in training, but he obviously has been out with a minor problem. He's been out. With a minor problem and all that. So we go up against Aston Villa on Sunday. 4:30 kick-off at Old Trafford. Villa haven't done too bad quite recently, to be quite honest with you. This is the first time we're playing Villa. I think it's over 3 years now. The last time we played them at Old Trafford, it ended 1-0, and that was back in April 2016. But obviously, this is a game that we do need to win against Aston Villa. Like I said, I haven't watched Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference as yet. Obviously, he'll be making a lot of alterations in the squad, obviously, from the defeat against Astana, because you've got to say the Premier League's also a priority as well. Solskjaer did say not too long ago that the league form does need to improve. So, I've got some news regarding Tomway. I've read it up on some reports and that, and it says it's not 100% guaranteed, but he said he could, be fully fit on Sunday, so he actually, could be playing against Villa on Sunday, could McTominay. McTominay's, I think, missed the last few games, obviously, with injury. I think it's the last 2 he's missed. Obviously, he's been out with an ankle injury. Due to this ankle injury, obviously, he had to withdraw from the Scotland squad during the international break. He did have initial scans on his ankle, obviously, to find out the extent of the injury. But like I said, McTominay has been a revelation this season, for Man United, which I still don't know if it's a long-term solution for the club, but, he deserves to keep his place in the team this season, reflecting on his impressive performances, and he's actually been a consistent starter in that. But, he has really hit the ground running and that, and he has been a big miss. I thought it was a big miss on yesterday, because he's made a big difference in that midfield. Despite that he's done well though. We still got to address that midfield. Whether Pogba stays or Pogba goes, I think it's very imminent he's going to go next year. But whether he stays or goes anyway, we still need to address that midfield. I think we need 2 midfielders. I think we need an attacking midfielder, and we also need a defensive midfielder, definitely. But yeah, so Solskjaer's revealed basically that he could be back for Sunday. Pogba, I've also got some good news regarding Paul Pogba as well. I think, we're very, very sceptical about him, playing on Sunday. So what I mean is it's very, very unlikely. But recent reports have emerged out saying that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is excited because Paul Pogba he's closer to returning from injury. And according to recent reports, he could be back for the Tottenham game next week. So he actually, could get that reunion with Jose Mourinho. Don't take into account, Paul Pogba and Jose Mourinho, had a really bad relationship and that. Take that into account. But Paul Pogba, has missed the vast majority of the games this season, due to injury. He has, had an ongoing ankle injury in that. And the last league game he did play was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal earlier on in the season. I know I was reading reports a couple of days ago, and he said Paul Pogba is set to return within the next 10 days. He also said recently, as he updated you on, that Paul Pogba was refusing to play for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously, I think he's still trying to force his way out of the football club, because I think his preference is a move to Real Madrid. So his perceptions are the same as there was, for the entirety of the summer, because, he wanted to leave during the summer. He revealed that at the beginning of the summer that he was seeking for a new challenge, and he publicly admitted that he wanted to leave the football club. But his preference is still move to Real Madrid. So there were some reports allegedly saying that he was faking the injury, so obviously, he could make his move to Real Madrid and that. But I did say the reason why Paul Pogba's moved to Real Madrid during the summer, didn't materialise, because obviously it was reflected on the substantial amount we put on him, because we did want around £180 million. Real Madrid were obviously not, willing to pay that. They spent a substantial amount themselves, recruiting new players in the summer. They spent around £300 million on 5 players. They did sell some players, so they did generate some of the money back. I've been reading recent reports as well, and it says now Real Madrid are willing to offer 2 of their players plus 73 million in exchange for Paul Pogba. So that could test our stance regarding the player. But Solskjaer still knows deep down how much of an imperative player he is. I know there was reports emerging out about him possibly making a return back to Turin, during the summer and that, because he did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. And now Paul Pogba's in his 4th season as a Manchester United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. And, I think, his performances at Man United have been in comparison, to as there was at Juventus. And I think he's been mainly inconsistent at Man United, prior to that 3 months when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. Because in that 3-month period, Paul Pogba, was, absolutely, scintillating form. But when he's at his best, Paul Pogba, he can play well. I think he mainly see the best of him when he's freed up and he expresses himself more, and all that. But Paul Pogba's still got 2 years left on his current contract at Man United, with an option, to extend it by a further year and that. And he's on a substantial amount at the club. He's on around 290 grand a week. So in that aspect, he is one of the highest paid players at the club. I've got to be honest, recently Fred's fulfilled his position well, but Solskjaer did confirm that he would fulfill his position, till obviously, till he comes obviously, back from injury. But, Fred's done quite well recently. I think he's had some bad games for Man United this season, but I think, some games he's stepped up to the plate and he's, being a revelation. I will agree on the aspects, definitely, that, we did overpay for Fred, because we paid around £50 million for him from Shakhtar Donetsk last summer. And he hasn't performed to the standards at Man United as we expected. He hasn't mainly replicated at Man United what he did at Shakhtar Donetsk, because analysing him at Shakhtar Donetsk, I thought he was an exceptional player, was Fred. But he's fulfilled Paul Pogba's position well. But, it's a shame, really, because, we was in a good run of form, before, the Sheffield United game. We'd won 5 of our last 6 games in all competitions and that. But it's always the same. It's, it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps back, But the last two games, the performances have been poor. It was poor against Astana, apart from 10 minutes. We was very, very poor in the Sheffield United game, apart from that 10-minute spell. We had a good 10-minute spell against Sheffield United. We obviously scored 3 times within 7 minutes. And, we was denied our first win of this season from a losing position because, we was actually 2-0 down in the game against Sheffield United and that. But there's still a lot of aspects of our game that do need to improve. In the vast majority of our games this season, obviously, we've, haven't scored enough goals. We've struggled to create chances, and this is the explanation, why we haven't been scoring enough goals. We also need to get couple of attackers in next year as well. We definitely need to get an adequate replacement for Lukaku, because we look very exposed in that attacking line following the departures of Romelu Lukaku and Sanchez. I know Rashford rejuvenated himself recently, since Martial came back from injury, you can say he's added more inspiration in that attacking third of the pitch and that, but we've still got to add more experience in that attacking line. I think we need a prolific goal scorer. We also do need Emery winner as well. But I think the two main priority areas is, that midfield and that, attacking line. Possibly there's other areas in the squad as well that I do need to be addressed in that. Obviously, Ed Woodward, said before that, he assured that Solskjaer's job is safe and that. But he's just not the right manager for Manchester United. Maybe you'll still get some people saying that we should give him at least a couple more windows to see who else we can recommend in. Because analysing it, he's still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United squad. Because taking into account, there's only 3 players that are his. The vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's, because Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players to the football club. Now, Solskjaer is now inheriting the vast majority of them, and I think he's inheriting, a pretty good squad. We have got a lot of good players in that, but they're just not playing as a unit, and in that aspect, the blame stems from the manager. But a lot of money's, reflect on the size and the potential of this club, reflect on the amount of money that's been invested into the football club. We should be much more commanding a position, than winning now. But unfortunately, we are currently not. We don't want to obviously sack Solskjaer, like I said, because we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers. Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era and that, and but see what happens. So the main part of this video, was to give you the news regarding, what's happened with Unrai today. It's been made official, he's been sacked and that. And there'll be more videos coming up. We'll be doing my Man United Aston Villa preview soon. Also going to interpret some of the stuff that Solskjaer, when I watch his press conference, I'll interpret some of the stuff he does mention that. Yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.